Now, for some more analysis, I want to cross to Omer Ozkizilcik, who is an analyst at the Security Department of the SETA Foundation and editor of Surya. And he joins us now live from Ankara. Good to speak to you, Omer. I'm sure you heard a lot of what happened and what was discussed in that press conference. But I want to ask you your thoughts, and also where does this meeting between the Russian and the Turkish leader leave a possible roadmap of cooperation between their two countries?
So, in general, we can say that the political understanding between Turkey and Russia regarding Syria still continues, and there was some new dynamics on the ground, like the US withdrawal declaration and the expansion of Hisham inside Idlib. So we see from the statements that the understanding are going on, and that both sides still want to cooperate with each other, and they both sides appreciate the gains made in the Astana process. So regarding the US withdrawal, we see that Russia has been also an advocate to not allow any terrorist organization to fill the void left by the US, but also that Russia is at least not rejecting a safe zone along the Turkish-Syrian border, as the Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said. This is something important because Turkey would not need a Russian approval for such a safe zone, but in order that the understanding between both nations can continue, it was important to reach an agreement there. In regards of Idlib, actually, after the Hisham expansion, there were the two main options. The first included military means, and the second included diplomatic means, in which both sides continue working together. And as we see, neither Russia nor Turkey is interested in a new military escalation inside Idlib, and therefore both sides managed to agree actually on continuing the process in Idlib, which aims to contain terrorists and which aims to de-escalate and preserve the situation, the ceasefire there, because the other three de-escalation zones in Syria, in Deraa, in Ghouta, and in Homs, they were all violated by the Assad regime, and the Assad regime now controls these areas. So Idlib is different because there are 12 Turkish observation points, and as we can assume from the statements in the press conference, Turkey has not backed down, and Russia has no interest in a new escalation. So the understanding will go on, and this means that the fate of Syria will continue to decide it in the Astana process.
Okay. Now I want to ask you about the balancing act that Turkey has. Obviously, we've seen from the press conference we've just seen now, a very close relationship with Russia, but also there on the ground in Syria, closer cooperation. So how does Turkey balance this?
So Turkey is actually balancing between many different points and actors. First of all, Turkey is still balancing between the United States of America and Russia inside Syria. So Turkey is now working highly coordinated with the Americans on a safe zone and also on a man-made roadmap. And whilst doing this, Turkey is coordinating with Russia in Idlib. So as we have seen, we can assume that Turkey has a strategic position inside Syria, and its power projection inside Syria has given Turkey a strategic position to cooperate with Russia and with the United States of America. So this balancing act, therefore, is a huge political gain and a huge victory of Turkish diplomacy. Mm-hmm. And I also think that the Turkish military presence on the ground made such a balancing act possible.
Okay, and I just want to ask you about the understanding, a difference of understanding. How would you compare Russia's understanding of Turkey's security interests, and particularly, obviously, the YPG, and the US's understanding?
So we can, first of all, say that Russia has supported the YPG in Afrin, whilst the US has supported the YPG from Manbij to the Iraqi border. In Afrin, we had the Operation Olive Branch after Russian military police left the area. So there was some kind of understanding and agreement between Turkey and Russia. And we also know that Russia tried to convince the YPG to cooperate with the Assad regime, and they even offered an autonomous region. But as this was rejected by the YPG because they still wanted to work with the Americans, the Russians are actually frustrated from the YPG. And now we also know that the YPG has made a new list of demands to the Assad regime, which are unacceptable. And therefore, I think the Russians have a different position than the Americans, who still see the YPG as the fighting partners against Daesh, and who the Americans don't want the YPG to be a target of a Turkish military operation. And we can say in general that the Russians want the Assad regime to control the areas of the YPG, and the Americans want to preserve the YPG. But in the end of the day, I think Turkey will establish a safe zone along its border and secure its border at eliminating terrorist threat.
Okay, Omer, lots of interesting points that you raised there. Thank you very much for your analysis. That was Omer Ozkizilcik. He is an analyst at the Security Department of the SETA Foundation and also editor of Suriye Gündemi. Thank you very much.